The way you beat a guy like that, you're not going to outbox him. If you're waiting on him and he's initiating and he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering the counter, you're going to lose that fight.
Gone, right? Like, and I'm not saying that I believe that. I don't believe that. I think getting beaten up by Daniel Dubois does not mean your chin's gone, especially when you keep getting up and you managed to rock him late in the fight and you stayed in the fight. And I think Daniel Dubois is a freak like, you know, AJ is a freak. He's a one-off. He's not, Jake Paul is not Daniel Dubois. But some people are genuinely giving Jake Paul a chance. That's blowing my mind here.
We're looking at the age difference. We've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old.
Max Kellerman recently broke down why he believes Jake Paul could actually defeat Anthony Joshua. According to Kellerman, Joshua is undeniably skilled and a former heavyweight champion, but age may no longer be working in his favor. Jake Paul, meanwhile, brings youth, confidence, and explosive energy into the ring. Kellerman explained that if Joshua wants to win, he must tap back into his younger version, staying aggressive, active, and willing to outwork Jake.
And he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering the counter. You're going to lose that fight. Joshua has to impose his size, strength, youth, go to the body. He has to be willing to take certain risks. And if he does that,
Kellerman says Jake Paul legitimately has a chance to win, while others insist he's risking his life stepping into the ring with a former heavyweight champion. He spoke about Jake Paul's mindset and how much he has evolved over the past few years. Jake has now fought multiple times, felt different kinds of pressure, and learned how to remain calm when the spotlight is bright. Kellerman believes Jake won't be nervous entering this fight because he has already experienced big stages repeatedly. He says Jake is built for these huge moments and performs better when the stakes are highest. Kellerman even said Jake has a 100% chance, not that he's guaranteed to beat Joshua, but because he fully trusts his preparation, his abilities, and the team behind him. Some experts have even predicted an upset, arguing that Joshua is older now, slower, and no longer has the explosive style he once had during his
experience that Jake has gained in the 5 years he's been in the sport. To be in your 12th or 13th fight in front of 80,000 people at AT&T Stadium in front of 125 million viewers, that's not experience you can gain normally. So he's going to go into that event very calm and very composed, and I fully believe that he does 100% think he's going to beat Anthony Joshua, yes.
What about the weight? Will there be a limit for Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Both of those times, Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230. And Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who, a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua? 100%.
I mean, we're just watching some of these punches being thrown now. Can he take something like that, Jake Paul?
Alexander Usyk took it, right? I think that was a perfect 1-2 combination by Joshua, again, on a fairly stationary fighter in Francis Ngannou, who had a good performance against Tyson Fury. But I don't think Tyson Fury took that fight serious.
They argue that while Joshua once dominated heavyweights, today he fights more cautiously and is easier to hit than before. Supporters of this view also highlight Jake Paul's improvements. He now has more power, better conditioning, and sharper fundamentals compared to a few years ago. From their perspective, the age gap and the recent form of both fighters make this matchup far more interesting than anyone originally expected.
Well, for Paul, he's not going to land on Joshua, is he? Joshua's going to be far too skilled in evading whatever Jake Paul could throw at him.
Because I don't believe he's an evading fighter. I think he's one of those fighters that is extremely powerful to where a fighter is simply afraid. The problem is that all of the pressure's on Joshua at the moment. So Jake Paul, if he gets knocked out in 12 seconds, he should get knocked out. The problem is as soon as Joshua starts taking damage, all of a sudden he's thinking, the world is watching me, I'm a professional fighter, and I'm getting beat off a YouTuber. All of the pressure is in Joshua, and that's a lot that can weigh on a man.
Just Jake Paul can't damage him, though. Like,
people can damage him, though. He's went down.
No,
in a
people
lot of his
can.
rounds.
People can. Yeah. No, like, Alexander Usyk can. Daniel Dubois can. But these are supreme athletes. Jake,
completely correct. Yes, there's a difference in someone who's been boxing their entire life versus a YouTuber. I completely understand that, but you can't deny that Jake Paul has power. I think it's one of his only attributes. I think he's a very poor boxer, but what he does have is a weird technique where you don't know what
he's got power. How do we know he's got power?
He's knocked people out.
What Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley?
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley was
like,
arguably one of the best UFC fighters there's ever been.
Mate. Like,
no, mate. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that he's going to go in there and walk Joshua all over. But you can't deny that he has lights out power. It's just something
I would deny that. I would deny that he has that kind of power.
Yeah, in an amateur boxing ring, yeah, fine. But not against a two-time world champion. We're talking about here.
Again, I understand the contempt in what I'm saying, and I do see how it is completely stupid thinking a YouTuber could break Anthony Joshua. But the thing is that he's going to be training for this fight. Joshua has all of the world looking at him thinking you should walk him over. If it gets 2 rounds, 3 rounds inside, I think Joshua loses.
Yeah. You think he gets beat?
I mean, I think the pressure will get to him. I think if he loses to Jake Paul, he's the embarrassment to boxing. And if you get inside 3 rounds where you've not put him away like everyone thinks you will, all of a sudden that pressure to finish the fight as he should is going to gain and gain and gain.
Is there any truth in this, Jamie? Can you see a world where Dan's theory is basically this geezer can punch and he therefore has a puncher's chance? I think he's got no chance. Like slim, if none.
No chance.
None. Literally none.
No chance.
No, it's one of them, innit? I honestly, without going like extreme, Dan, I think Anthony Joshua, if he could only use one hand, wins the fight. I honestly do.
This is the thing, and I love Joshua. You know, he's arguably the pride of Britain when it comes to boxing. He's a great fighter. But could you say he's past his best? Could you say that he's been tested too many times? The thing that it relates to me is when you look at Silva in the UFC, as soon as he got knocked out, his chin became glass. And I think that's the same with Joshua. I don't think he can take a punch anymore. I think he's one of those people where it's almost he damages way too easy now. And it's one of those things where I think when you're a boxer and you've had a few defeats and you've had a few...
Tony Jeff, an Olympic boxer, gave a different angle on why Jake Paul deserves more respect. He explained that Jake Paul has access to every resource a fighter could dream of. He can hire elite trainers, world-class conditioning coaches, sports psychologists, nutritionists, and the very best sparring partners. Because of his financial power, Jake can build the perfect training camp without cutting any corners. Jeff also noted that Jake understands this is the biggest challenge of his career, so he will prepare harder than ever. Along with that, Jake has the advantage of youth. Jeff reminded everyone that in boxing, youth is a major weapon. Young fighters recover faster, train harder, and often enter the ring stronger and more energetic.
On the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. Now, come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. Anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that on there? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway through and switch them to 12s? But I guess these days, anything happens in boxing, right? The boys will follow similar rules to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November, but that fight was 8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves. Not similar if it's smaller gloves and 2-minute rounds. Who ruled this for DAZN? It marks the first time Joshua will have contested less than